The NSCAA started this weekend's College Game of the Week package Friday in Santa Barbara as UCSB beat Rutgers 4-0. And on Sunday at Cardinal Park, the undefeated Louisville Cardinals played host to UIC. Now we take a look at what's happening around the country in this edition of the NSCAA College Soccer Review. Hello, everybody. I'm Dean Linke along with Keith Tabadznik. Welcome to the NSCAA College Soccer Review. On Friday night, we saw UCSB knock off Rutgers. Later on, we'll have highlights on this Louisville-UIC matchup. Before we get to the rankings, though, Keith Tabadznik, early on, just a week into the season, any surprises in the men's game?
Yeah, well, it's a bit early to see any major surprises, but I will say there may be some mild ones. Mild in the sense that John Kerr Jr. at Duke is now out of the gates at 4-0. Not a real surprise that Duke's good, but John has just turned him around into the way he wants to play quickly. And, hey, how about the Ivy League as well? Jimmy Barlow, 3-0 in his start. Best start in a while. Hey, Princeton, Harvard, Dartmouth, all making a sign early.
All right, let's take a look at the NSCAA college rankings. And Caleb Porter doing a great job at Akron. Ironically, he replaces Ken Lola, who we're seeing here today.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of things like that. I mean, he replaces Ken Lola. He came from Indiana. We have John Trask here, who also came from Indiana. And I've heard from a lot of coaches that Akron could be the team to beat this year.
Meanwhile, Wake Forest, speaking of Indiana, they beat Indiana in Bloomington on Sunday.
Yeah, and Wake Forest, a big game today against Clemson. We'll see what the result is there. But Jay Vidovich, he just keeps replaying great players with great players.
Finally, UCSB, you saw them on Friday, Keith. They annihilated Rutgers.
Yeah, I tell you what, they did 4 goals by 4 different players, and they have more guns there who can score as well. Very potent attacking team.
All right, let's roll to the second 10 here as we break it down. And right there at number 12, Indiana, they finally got a couple good results.
Yeah, they beat New Mexico 3-2, and they beat Seattle 2-0. You know, I mean, they're a good team right the way through. They've had a tough schedule as well. That's going to really pay off for them down the road.
And UCLA, Jorge Salcedo, a big win over Maryland.
Yeah, he beat Maryland, and then 2 days later lost to Georgetown at Georgetown 2-0. Came back with a 4-0 win over UC Davis.
Big surprise to see NC State back in there. George Tarantini, they lost to UNC in a tight one.
Yeah, and I tell you, it's been a while for NC State to be in there, and I guess the test now is whether they can stay in there for the whole season.
And the final 5 here on the rankings, you see Ray Reid's Connecticut team, a couple draws this week.
Yeah, and I think that's the big challenge. It's 0-0 and 0-0, the score lines. They're going to need to find a way to score goals to stay in the top 25.
All right, let's take a look at who is scoring goals, the NSCAA Men's Player of the Week.
Yeah, Andrew Bowles from UMBC. Pete Caringi's squad has come out strong. One of the best starts in the school's history, and one of the big reasons Andrew Bowles, a former Maryland Olympic development team player, scored a ton of goals this last week. Congratulations, Andrew.
Yeah, he is the NSCAA Player of the Week. Now, let's go to the women's game right now. We asked about surprises on the men's side. How about on the women's side?
Well, it's not a surprise that North Carolina is doing so well, but I think a lot of people think it's a surprise at just how dominant they have been. So, I mean, really, the question is, we're going to be asking all year, can anyone beat North Carolina? And if anyone come, it just may come from the West Coast with Portland and Stanford.
All right, well, we'll see all 3 of those teams as we take a look now at the NSCAA college rankings. And there you see North Carolina, and right there with them is indeed Portland and Stanford.
Yeah, and both those teams have a chance to challenge. I mean, Stanford has a tremendous offensive team, you know, and they have the chance they can score goals and everything. They have a big game today with Notre Dame. You know, Portland, always a strong team, had a 4-1 win over Illinois. Both teams undefeated so far.
How about Randy Waldrum? I mean, christens a new stadium by bringing Carolina, then he's got to play Santa Clara. I mean, his schedule is as tough as any team.
Yeah, it's really tough, and the challenge there for Randy Waldrum is the fact that they're actually replacing 4 outstanding players this year, so it could take a little bit of time. The early season schedule against the tough teams will hopefully pay off for them in the Big East play.
Well, you mentioned who could beat Carolina. How about this ACC team, Wake Forest? They had a big win over Big Ten powerhouse Penn State.
Yeah, and Wake Forest is now 7-0 to start. Again, a great beginning for them. You know, the ACC is always strong all over.
All right, second page there, Texas A&M. Not a bad result, if you can say it, against Carolina.
No, I mean, that's a 2-0 result, and people may think that that's a moral victory this year against North Carolina. You know, they're a very good team, Texas A&M. I mean, maybe a young team. Maybe they're a year or 2 away. Really talented.
Florida, big wins over Duke and Colorado, but they lost to Indiana.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it is consistency that you need. You know, having said that, you know, some teams are going to, you're going to have losses here and there, and how can you rebound from the losses? They're going to be a good team. They have to rebound.
South Carolina, they routed Clemson. Let's take a look at the final 5 here, and Minnesota and Penn State. It's really kind of ironic, and also to see Indiana in the top 25 on the women's program.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Indiana also had a great, so they're 6-1-0 right now to start off. Just had their first loss of the season, but I think they're trying to make a name for themselves on the women's side.
All right, let's take a look at the NSCAA women's Women's Player of the Week, Keith Tabadznik. As we roll it down here, it was indeed the player from Florida State, Jessica Price, 2 goals and 2 assists, as they were also able to knock off Penn State Nittany Lions. A good performance. Mark Krikorian doing a good job at Florida State.
Yeah, and Florida State also with a good start, you know, unbeaten to begin with. And I think a lot of people think that they also have a team that has a chance to challenge, although also young.
And after 110 minutes of play here in Louisville, it was 1-1 final.
Yeah, it was 1-1, but early in the game, it's Paulo Del Piccolo with a shot from the outside of his left foot, challenging the goal. We couldn't put it in. And then the ball comes in, and we have Bubonia getting the ball nicely. We've got Mark Knight coming in, knocking him into the goal. Then the long throw coming in, flicked on. Bubonia again. Catch this ball, getting knocked by the Louisville players trying to get him in the goal. He had a great game, Bubonia. Second half now, we had no shots on goal in the first half. Second half, Colin Rolfe powers his way in, 1-0 for Louisville. Colin Rolfe's 3rd goal of the year, but let me tell you, it was answered fairly quickly after. Charlie Trout with a bad hamstring. Didn't look bad on that shot. Puts it in, his 10th goal of his career. That ends at 1-1 draw.
All right, back at it again on Friday. This coming Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Boston University will welcome in their neighbors from Boston College. That should be a good one. The men's college game of the week next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Then on Sunday, Boston University keeps the truck right there. The women's program will welcome in from the Ivy League, Harvard, a doubleheader from Boston University, men's and women's soccer style, as the NSCAA College Game of the Week rolls on. The College Soccer Review is presented by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America, the world's largest single-sport coaching organization. The NSCAA is dedicated to providing the best in soccer coaching, education, and membership benefits. Visit nscaa.com for more information.